All right, y'all. Welcome to the Three Wide podcast. I almost said 40s. That's my football podcast. Three Wide podcast, episode 6. We got hung up a little bit. It's been a few weeks since we recorded because it's been impossible to get everyone together.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here now.
Yeah.
November 23rd, talking about Phoenix. So yeah, let's.
It wasn't too long ago the season ended around this time before NASCAR
I know.
started doing an earlier season. I
I
miss,
know.
honestly, when it went later. I really do. I loved where the championship race would happen and then it's Thanksgiving the next week. It's like,
I
I
got
don't
a Snapchat memory of me watching Jimmie win the championship. Even just like that recent ago, it was still kind of going this late.
that 2016 when he won his seventh.
Yeah,
Definitely missed the Thanksgiving NASCAR weekend
I'm
right
sure
before
the
Thanksgiving.
teams hated that, but
Yeah.
it was always
What?
wild to me that NASCAR's off season was like a month, and then they go to Daytona to test.
What year were you all born?
2000.
2000. Ryan?
What'd you say, sorry?
What year were you born?
Kyle.
Max said he was born 2000.
I was born in 03.
Okay, so you guys,
We're youngins.
of course,
We're babies.
you weren't around for this. When NASCAR had to run a race after Thanksgiving because of 9/11.
That was New Hampshire.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was
Robbie
very
Gordon
interesting.
punted Jeff Gordon out of the way.
Yeah, as a Jeff Gordon fan at
Hey.
8 years old.
I was alive. I was not watching NASCAR.
Oh
I
my.
did start
I can't say
not
the same.
long. I did start not long after that, but yeah, no.
I'm still not over that.
Robbie Gordon was something. Like you gotta love him, but holy shit!
He knew how to make waves, man.
Remember when Robbie Gordon threw foam out the window and then they showed him the replay? He's
He,
like, I don't know what that was.
Robbie Gordon was Joey Logano before Joey Logano came on the scene. That's who Robbie Gordon is without all of the wins and accolades. That's
Yeah, he was
their
Joey
driving
Logano
styles mirror.
if Logano is not, or if Logano was not nearly as successful as he is.
Yep. Driving styles mirror each
And
other, man.
he like owns his own.
Series.
He like owns his own off-road racing series
yeah,
now.
they
It's
do
just
Yeah.
Stadium Super Trucks, and he still runs that
got
bright
banned from
orange
Australia.
7-speed car. All right, Phoenix
Mhm.
truck race. Zane Smith finally
Thought it
wins
was
the
really
damn championship. Oh, it was a great race. Racing at the end was
Well
great.
deserved.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's about time Zane Smith got the win there.
Yeah,
He's finished second.
he was doing.
He's finished second every other year he's been in the sport. So finally gets that win. Racing at the end there, like I said, was great between the top 4 until Ty Majeski wrecked, and then 3 of the top 4.
Majeski.
Yeah.
Majeski had a
Putting
great
it all out.
year. Yeah, he had a great year, considering he was in
He
that
did.
cursed Roush 60 car with Cindric and Briscoe.
He's
Yeah.
come a long way.
Wrecked every
And
5
then he
laps.
got put in. He got put in that niece truck when they got pulled off of the GMS Technical Alliance.
Yeah,
And I
so-
think a lot of people kind of wrote him off when he didn't do well on that niece truck because I think a lot of people said, well, that's the same truck that Ross Chastain had. It wasn't the same truck, but
No,
I
yeah.
think
A lot of people don't get that alliances end sometimes, and they're like, "Why isn't this person doing good? This guy won 10 races in that truck or whatever a few years ago." And it's like, yeah, they don't get support anymore. But
Yep.
anyone who wrote Ty Majeski off clearly never watched him race a late model. Dude's a wheelman.
Mm.
But like I said, the man of the hour was Zane Smith in that 38 truck. Just capped off an insane year for them.
yeah. I saw that it was the second best statistical truck season in terms of consistency, average finish, top 10s, top 5s. The only thing that he didn't have the accolade that was the wins.
And
But he still had 4 of them.
He should have. He had.
You know?
Mhm.
So And he's going to be back next year to defend his championship. So watch out, Truck Field.
Yeah, no,
Zane Smith's winning like 8
that's kind
races next year.
I saw somebody give a
of.
prediction for next year, just for the Truck Series, and they think that Corey Heim is going to win the Truck Series championship. And I'm like,
No,
I don't think
no.
so, man.
Like, I don't think
Gonna be
he's
hard.
bad. I don't think he's bad at all. But, like,
Mm-mm,
shit, no, not yet. Maybe in like
no.
2 years he might. It depends. He's driving for truck
I
now,
am
right?
excited. Yeah,
Yeah. They need to show they can do
very
something.
excited.
I mean, DGR this year was
I'm curious to see
outside
what
of
he.
when Cup guys. Sorry, I cut you off there. Outside of when Cup
Oh,
guys
you're
were
good.
in,
You're good.
DGR was a shit show.
Mm,
What were you saying, Ryan?
I was saying, I'm excited to see what Heim can do full time. It'll be interesting to see someone almost. You don't really get those young guys that kind of prove themselves a little bit and then come into the truck series. Seems like a lot of them now take that route of going to Xfinity because trucks have proven that
Is
they're not.
a nightmare.
Yeah, they're not a great development tool. So it's gonna be kind of interesting to see what Corey Heim will do next year.
Speaking of trucks, I just want to go on a sidetrack real quick. I heard a little rumble in that there might be a second FRM truck next year
hmm,
for a certain
interesting.
female driver.
Huh.
Just a little rumbling, but good
Keeping.
news.
Okay, so is that keeping Deegan in
In
trucks
trucks, which is
or
a bad move, but
no, man?
I'd say put her in the
I
SS
don't know if
Greenlight
that's the
car,
best move
but
for her.
because I don't think SHR wants 3 Xfinity cars.
Well, she'll be an improvement over Joe Graff if they put her in that '07 car.
But I
I
don't
can
think they
promise you
will.
that.
I heard second FRM truck with a large number of Xfinity starts. Um,
Okay.
and then I would assume maybe taking over for Herbst or something after that. But anyway, speaking of Xfinity, on to the Xfinity race.
Hmm.
Ty Gibbs wins the championship. Had a, I mean, his car
I will
was
say
nuts. His car was so good.
I'm not a Ty Gibbs fan. He ran a fantastic race, and I will say that is probably one of the best Xfinity races we had this year in terms of just guys went after it, wrecked each other.
I
They were
think
going for it.
for the
Go ahead.
second year in a row, either the 9 or 7 could have won a championship. They didn't dick around with each other for 5 laps. Because I think both years they were faster than each other.
Yeah.
Because Gragson was reeling Ty in at the end, but he was hung up with
Yes, he was.
Justin Allgaier, who was blowing up, but he held his teammate up for like 8 laps. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Not a whole lot of
I don't know
teamwork
if you
there,
guys.
but they won't be teammates
I don't
next year anyway. So
know. I don't know if you guys got to see, but Fox actually did a radioactive on the Xfinity Phoenix race. It's
they
the first
do.
Xfinity radioactive
They
ever.
they, they
Oh,
did like randomly. Like I know they did a truck one for the Daytona Road Course last year. Like I don't know why, but they did. They just randomly decide. They're like, yeah, we're gonna do something else. Probably if there's like good audio. They're
it
like,
was
yeah,
kind
maybe we will. But yeah, I did watch
yeah,
that.
but it was kind of cool. Yeah.
Josh Berry was kind of a non-factor all day, which was a little disappointing. The other 3 ran up front all day.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah, it seemed like whenever Barry would get towards the front, something would happen. I mean, I'm still not sure what happened at the end there. If he just got the wall, or if he had a tire go down, or
he just got the
he just
wall.
he just got the wall. All right, yeah, he just
I
fell
just
back.
how about Sammy Smith looked like a bull in a china shop. Wrecked Sam
Oh
Mayer
my lord, yeah.
twice.
Yeah, I like how they were trying to show like, oh yeah, this is why Sammy Smith is mad, and then they just showed why Sam Meyer should have been mad in that situation.
Yeah, like I don't have anything against Sammy Smith. He hasn't really been around enough yet. But
Uh,
that was a race. Of all the races
Mhm.
Xfinity guys ran this year. That was one of them. Other than that, no, it was a great race between the 9, the 7, and the 54. But yeah, I thought the 9 was gonna catch him there at the end, and he ran out of time. But he made it close. But he wasn't gonna. I don't think he was gonna move him. Junior told his guys, if you get to him, pass him. Don't wreck him.
I think, you know, I'm actually, a Ty Gibbs fan. I actually like the kid. I didn't care for what he did at Martinsville too much, but
I don't
um,
hate him, but he's not my number
he
one.
he ran such a great race, and he took care of that car. He didn't put it in a situation that would have, taken him out of contention. He was very patient, even when he was behind Gregson or Allgaier. You could tell he was patient. He wasn't trying to
Yeah,
bump anybody around or push the envelope. He just took his time. So
he ran he
that's
ran a perfect race.
yep. And props to
Yeah,
the
he
pit
really
crew
did.
too.
What was that?
I said props to the pit crew.
Oh yeah, JRM pit crews cannot say the same thing. They looked like shit.
The one time out of
Yeah.
the year where they needed to be as consistent as they had been, and they just completely
Yeah,
humbled.
Gregson's especially. His pit crew was terrible.
Oof, yeah.
I guess move on to the Cup race. Logano, 22 and 22.
Yeah.
He wins the race and championship. I'd say probably second best driver all year.
Yeah.
And definitely the best in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I have to say that was the worst outcome that NASCAR could have had after what Ross Chastain did at
Just a
Martinsville. That was the
boring
last thing
race
they
with a
needed.
boring winner.
Yep. Not just a boring winner, but a winner
Yeah.
that not a lot of people care for and are just kind of like, okay, that was
Literally,
a letdown.
any of the other 3 drivers win. Like again, same thing. Chastain was reeling him in at the end, but Blaney was gonna make it hell on him. He finishes third. Bell thought he was blowing up, dropped back a bit, and Elliott got wrecked. Kind of a racing deal. I wouldn't really pin it on anyone.
Yeah, Ross
No.
wasn't going to lift, and Ross wasn't going to lift, and Chase came down. So
Yeah.
it's just a racing deal. It is what it is.
Door Bumper Clear seems to disagree. They pin that. Door Bumper Clear and Jamie Mack were like, Chastain should have lifted.
No,
Really?
no, we're going for a championship.
That's what I thought.
It's it.
So I'm very surprised that the group of
Yeah,
spotters and former driver were saying that.
I mean, if he lifts, you got
If
to
it were the
imagine if
March,
he lifts, they're all going by him on that outside. Like you're
Yeah.
already going to get past on the outside. If he blips that throttle, and I don't know how close the person was behind Chastain, he could have easily gotten wrecked from behind as well. They were all really, really close
Yeah.
on those restarts. So
So
I don't think he had a choice.
they were just going for the same spot on the track. It wasn't even like it was a
Yep.
block because they moved at the same
Mm-mm.
time. They were just
Yep.
both trying to get low. It did suck though, cause like Elliott had been bitching about his car all day, and then he's like, "This thing's good now," and he was ahead of Logano.
Yeah.
So it would have been fun to
Yeah.
watch him and Logano, cause it seemed like they probably had the 2 best cars there. Would have been fun to watch them battle it out, but Elliott finishes 36th, like 7 laps down.
Yeah, it just wasn't meant to be.
Nope. I am glad he
Classic.
didn't try to do anything to Chastain though. Everyone thought he was
You
gonna
know,
wreck Chastain. He let him by.
Elliott, he's just not that like
I say,
So
he doesn't just go out and just dump people. Except he did go out and dump Chastain
Gateway.
at Gateway.
Yeah, Gateway did. So people, I want.
well, that was a little pretty got it.
Yeah, just shoved him into the corner, going 8 million miles an hour. I do want to. I saw a thing. Where was it? I gotta find it. People were looking way too hard into Elliott and how he seemed after the race. People were like, he wasn't smiling. He said he was excited to just get some time off. Things like that. And then they brought it
Well-
back to no personality. I'm like, well, he did just have a great season that ended with him getting dumped in the last race. and not
You know,
winning a championship.
though it's funny that people say he doesn't have a personality, but I thought Elliott, especially later in the season, was really expressing his frustrations about how NASCAR was handling things,
Yeah, a
which
lot
you
of
had
things.
never heard from him before.
No.
He was questioning TV deal. He was questioning sponsorship stuff. He was questioning the car.
Yeah.
He wants to be a voice in the garage because nobody has stepped up.
Yeah, and not only that, I just want to say this, people. He does. Someone goes, this guy. This guy thinks because Elliot. They said he seems like he's not enjoying NASCAR. They think he's gonna retire early within the next few years. I'm like, you're a moron. You are an absolute moron. But he goes, what does he like to do?
Oh
Does he
wow.
golf? Does
Leave
he
it to
snowboard
NASCAR
or
fans.
ski? Is he happy? I'm like, go look at his Instagram because he posts all that shit there. Sorry, he went to the Hendrick School of how to please your sponsors, but
I don't
yeah.
know how
So,
Jeff Gordon got away with that because that was
so
the only
yeah,
person who was
like
actually had some character.
Jimmie Johnson, one of the greatest drivers ever. Nobody gives a shit about him because he was so vanilla. Um, Dale Jr. made a good point about that. That
Oh my
Jimmy should be
god.
celebrated, and he's just forgotten about it at the time. But
He is really forgotten about.
so
He's a very underappreciated driver.
yeah, he was. Despite the 7 championships, 83 wins, and just everyone's like, hey, Jimmy. Um,
Well, speaking
Oh
of
yeah,
Jimmy,
yeah.
so yeah. Speaking of Jimmy,
Yeah.
by the way, I just want to one last point on Phoenix. Racing sucked. I don't know why Phoenix is the finale.
yeah, I think there should be a
That's it
rotation every
right
year,
there.
Either that or
or at least 5 different
you know what
tracks.
I think you can do too, because I know you're building this Auto Club short track. Build it to be the championship race. Like build it to be like this is where our championship's gonna be. We're gonna build this with that in mind. Because I keep thinking they're gonna go there for the championship.
Well, I know you guys hate this, but I did see, I forget who commented on it. Uh, who was it? It was some known NASCAR reporter. Someone was asking the question on for 2024, what's going to be the championship race, and they commented Daytona, and it's just like,
I think that was kind
uh,
of. So I know he's not in the sport anymore, but Brian France still has a say kind of in what happens from what I gathered from his interview on the download. Um,
is that where I can't
well,
remember where I heard it,
he
or
said
someone
that
commented on that.
championship would never be at a super speedway or a road course. It would be an intermediate or a short track, is where they want to keep it.
Yeah,
Which I'm.
I don't want it to be Daytona. I just know NASCAR.
Well, actually, from what I've been one with NASCAR lately, in that they kind of seem to be like listening to a lot of what people are saying, and we'll get more into that later. Um,
So I was just going to say real quick. Okay, so wouldn't it make sense though to go to different places for the championship race, just like how the NFL goes to different stadiums
yeah. It.
to build the hype in that
Here's
city?
the thing, though, is that every NFL field is the same. It's 100 yards. The only difference is grass or turf.
Right, but what I'm saying is
Yeah,
for the city that you're going to kind of bring NASCAR to specific cities
I think
for the championship.
that's true. I think that's
That's what
kind
I'm
of
saying is
what
like,
the street race is going to be used for, is what I'm thinking. Bring the product
yeah,
to them.
but if you're, which is fine, but I'm saying like if you want people to really like be like, tuned in to the championship race, which we'll get into that more later on, just how bad that stunk, TV ratings wise. Uh, if you want people to tune into that, you should be going to those outlets where people maybe don't really know or really have a clue on what this sport is to kind of get them to interact better, other than just going to Phoenix and Homestead every single year.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always felt like the championship should be somewhere where, like, embraces NASCAR. and then you can
Mm-hmm.
bring a regular season race to them, kind of dip the toes in the water.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell was I? Well, I saw a couple drivers comment on this publicly. I know Denny Hamlin is one. Dale Jr. was one.
Yeah.
And this was brought up to the people at NASCAR by at least Dale Jr. Make the playoffs 12 races, 4 rounds of three,
Mm-hmm.
4 rounds of three. Final round is 3 races.
Huh.
Dale goes, nobody's gonna build a
I
big
kinda
enough lead where it's gonna get decided before the last race in 3 races. He goes, all these guys are gonna be running at the front. Nobody's gonna clinch before the last race. He goes, but a wreck isn't gonna ruin your season per se. No clinching with a win, 3 races.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind that.
Well, but if you take out the whole
Yeah, I kind of like
winning your
that.
in aspect, I do too. But if you take the winning your in aspect out, then the whole entire championship is completely different. Then you have
Well,
another
only for the last
freaking.
round, no win to clinch. You can't clinch a championship with a win. You can advance, like keep it the same up till the round of 4. No clinching with a win. You just get points.
I agree. I think the problem is it's just it changes it again because you have. I mean, that'd be so weird to have it to where all the way up to the final round you can win to get in, and then it's all points. It's like you go from being an aggressive driver to let's say Ross Chastain is
Ross,
200
all right.
points out,
Ross
and
Chastain
no
does
matter even
not know a good points day. He knows win or crash.
what. And I'm also thinking about Christopher Bell too, because if you take
Yes.
him to Martinsville, he can't win to get in because that's not enough points. So I don't know. I think that just complicates things. I think NASCAR really needs to. You got to stick with one or the other. You're either going to do an all-season championship, or it's based on points. It's based on
Or meet in the
who is the
middle.
best.
Go back to the original chase. I think that is
You could.
both people having it their way, and I think that was perfect. I think
I honestly would like to see the win in your in, even in the regular season, gone.
I agree. I agree. You know what I think? Go back
I
to
mean,
what they
I
had.
mean, Max,
in the,
you know what I'm gonna say.
yeah, you want full season. I'm trying to think. Please everyone.
Ryan, I'm kind of there with you
No,
too. I did enjoy the
I would
chase.
prefer a full season points format. But if you're trying to please everyone, here's what I remember when they had top 10 in points and then 2 wild
Hmm.
cards, which were winners below.
Hmm.
Go back to that.
Yeah.
Keep the scoring the same that it is now. 10 race chase. Top 10 in points, 2 winners outside the top 10. Because you know we're
Matt,
going to have winners outside the top 10 in points.
Max, you know what the funny thing is? Is okay. I thought it was so funny when NASCAR was like the 2 wild cards. It's like, first of all, this is a bunch of bullshit. The 2 wild cards are just who can make it in on points at the end. It's like, what the hell is this wild card?
Well, here's
This
what I'm
is not
thinking.
a wild card.
If you don't have a winner outside the top 10, say one guy outside the top 10 wins, all right, 11 guys are in the
Sure,
chase. If nobody else,
agreed. I
granted,
think that
that's not
works
going to happen.
perfectly.
Fucking 19 guys want to race this year. If you include the All-Star race, 20 guys want to race this year. It's not going to happen. You're going to have more than 10 winners. You had more than
Mhm.
10 winners in the years where fucking Larson and Harvick were winning 10 races apiece.
Yep.
So you're going to, I think, top 10 in points. Keep the bonus points, keep the stage points, keep all that. I think the way the points are, in terms of how they're rewarded, I think it's perfect. Right now, point per position, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the
I
current
agree.
system is definitely flawed.
In terms of
100%.
advance or how points are awarded.
In terms of advance
Okay,
and
yeah,
how you can
no,
just win and get in. It's
yeah.
just like
I think the way
no.
they're awarded with you get what is it 5 point or you get the 1 extra point for winning a stage, 5 for winning a race, and then point per position. I think point per position is great.
I think stages are fantastic because
I
you
like stages. I would like
mhm.
stages more if there was no caution, which
Well,
I'll get
speaking of
into that
which,
later. But this is a good discussion right now, so I'm enjoying
no,
this.
I love stages
Oh, Sean.
because I can remember. Right, I'll let you in just a second. I just remember before stages, you could lead like, let's say you lead half of the race.
You get what?
You blow up.
You get 2
You
bonus
get
points. One
you
for
get two
leading a
bonus
lap, one for
points.
leading the most laps.
Yep.
Bring those
So you
back
could
too.
finish. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Didn't
Brian, go
Daytona
ahead.
have something where you were, my bad, if you were leading at the halfway point, just at Daytona?
Uh, yes, way back in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah, halfway point, leaders point,
yeah.
something like
But I
that.
think it
Yeah.
was only for the
Points, points.
500.
hmm Ryan, what was your
Yes.
take?
Not really a take, but I was gonna say my theories about how I want things to go. Told him I want single file restarts back, and I could sense he's
No,
just
no,
looking at the
no,
phone.
no, no, no. I can agree with you on almost everything but that. Um,
The problem with single file
I could just
restarts with
I saw the bubble.
well,
Go
the
ahead.
problem with single file restarts is NASCAR had their head so far up their ass they didn't know who was on the lead lap and who was the leader, and then the leader would sometimes have to be behind the cars that were on the tail end of the lead lap while you had cars a lap down on the inside. Like it made no sense. Like
also,
nobody.
I don't want to see like the
Oh,
guy in fifth lining up in row 10 in Martinsville. I I think I
oh
like double
man,
file and I love the choose cone. I think that was a great
yeah.
change.
Choose cone is a mission.
That was
I
Austin
think
Dillon. Austin Dillon came up with that and kind of
yeah.
got it implemented.
Ryan, I would say if they didn't have choose cone, I'd say it'd be okay to bring back single file. But because you have that choose cone, it's virtually, kind of like that. Because the reason why people were talking about getting single file restarts back is guys were getting tired of having to be on the outside of, say, like Atlanta or Martinsville,
Yeah, they were
and they couldn't
brake
go
checking
anywhere.
guys on pit lane.
Oh God.
Remember that happened every pit stop in Martinsville one year. I don't remember. You'd have like a giant stack up at the end of pit lane every time.
That was all the way up to until the choose cone. They
Yeah,
used to do that all the time, all the time.
Martinsville was
Oh,
bad with
there's
that. You'd have
still my
just a parking lot at the end of pit lane. But no, where were you going after? We kind of like ran you into a fucking hole when you said single file restart. So sorry about that.
No,
What
you're
else were you
good,
gonna
man.
say?
I was just gonna say I saw that bubble type up, and then it just kept like disappearing and popping back up in the chat as if you were looking. You're like, okay, how do I respond to this?
When you said single
This guy
file
clearly
restarts?
just sent me something. Yeah, I was like, you were probably thinking in the back of your head, this guy said something that indicates insanity. So I don't know how I'm gonna
I'm
respond to
not gonna
this
lie,
right
it was a
here,
pretty
but
similar response to what just happened. I was like, no, no.
Cozy he was like, I can agree with everything you said, but what?
Yeah, full season points I can get behind. I can get behind almost everything. But single file restarts is not one of them.
Uh,
But yeah, no,
I
that's
remember I think they started to try to penalize people for the stacking up on pit road thing, and I remember they
Mm-hmm.
did not do a great job of it, and that was a big controversy in and of
whenever you
itself.
leave it
So,
up to
choose,
NASCAR's discretion, it's gonna get fucked up.
yeah, choose code's good.
Yeah,
We like
but yeah, in conclusion, that's my vote. End the year at the Auto Club short track, but build the Auto Club short track to be your championship. Like build it like insane. And turn
Yep.
Texas into a parking lot while you're fucking at it. But I know
Is it
it's
going to
not
be a
gonna.
parking lot or a
I know
piece of
it's not
something
speedway?
with
gonna.
it.
They are thinking about reconfiguring Texas, but not in the way I would hope. But also not to be like Atlanta. So that's good. Build Auto Club short track to be your championship venue. Build it grand, huge, whatever you got
Yeah.
to do. And then go top 10 in points, 2 wild card, keep the scoring the way it is now. 10 race chase. End it at Auto Club. That is my vote. That'll never happen. So I don't even know why I'm talking about it.
I can get behind it.
I got it. Playoffs are going to be road courses and Atlanta, Talladega, and Daytona. That's my vote. Be like Tony Stewart. Let's turn 'em around. Half of them go backwards. Half of them go the right way.
Go ahead, at least $1,000 in damage.
That was hilarious.
if I could have gotten in one more wreck, that
That was such a
that would have been
funny
it.
interview.
That That would have been the icing on the cake if I could have gotten in one more wreck.
How'd we get on this? Oh, Jimmie Johnson. That's right. He bought into Petty GMS. That
Oh, what a
happened.
stretch.
That happened. Yeah, I don't know where the hell we wound up, but it's good. It's good. That's the kind of discussion
Yeah.
that'll get us up to like 6 viewers, maybe. Uh, um. Anyway, where the hell were we? Jimmie Johnson buys into Petty GMS. Name stay in the same.
And Max, we were totally wrong. If you guys go back and listen to our take, we said, "Yeah, Jimmie comes back. He's not going to race the super speedway. First race, Daytona 500."
Yep, I thought for sure because we did say Jimmie was gonna come back.
Yeah.
But we
Yep.
said Wilkesboro, which we learned he's not locked into. Thank you, Bob. He can race his way in, but he's not locked in. Chicago, we thought, and a few others, but we said no super speedways, especially because Jimmie was not very good at them. But he's going to be running the 500. I don't know what number he's going to run. A lot of people are thinking 44 because that's what Petty and Jimmie have connections to that number. Jimmie ran 44 in his ASA days. But he will be making. They haven't determined how many starts he's going to make yet, I think, right? I know
Yeah,
They
even.
hadn't said anything yet.
I do know
I think
that.
they said
I know that if they did determine the number, they haven't determined the tracks yet, outside of Daytona.
I want to say they said at least 5 starting with the Daytona 500. So
Yeah.
it
Something
opens
like that.
for them to.
I think he's going to be good in the next gen. Because a lot of people have said the next gen
Yeah,
kind of
I think
does like the Gen 4 did.
Yeah, Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick both said that the next gen is very similar to the Gen 4, especially with the grip in the car.
So, and that's when Jimmie could not be stopped. Between that and the COT.
Jesus.
Then Gen 6, he fell off a cliff. But still won a championship in it. Had to win one just to say,
Ooh.
fuck you, NASCAR.
Actually, he
Points
won
format on me
2.
again.
He won 2 in the Gen
Yeah, he
6,
won one
2013 and 2016.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he won 13.
And to be perfectly honest, guys, the Gen 6 is really the Gen 5 with a different body. Like, the
Yup,
chassis is
yeah.
literally the COT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, most people don't really, like, most NASCAR fans don't know that. And if you're a NASCAR fan out there that's just now learning that, surprise, the Gen 6 is literally just the COT with a different body
And
to make it
like-
look more like a product.
And like 600 less horsepower.
Not at first.
Not at
Not
first.
at first.
I
Not
do
until
want to
Toyota
say,
came in.
I got to do an argument with someone about this the other day. 2014 was not as good as people make it out to be.
Highly
That's,
disagree.
that's my bold take. There's a reason.
Highly disagree.
There's a reason you see the same
I just-
6 or 7 highlights in every video. Someone was like, I want NASCAR to be the way it used to be. And they're like, what do people mean by that? And I'm like, whenever you hear someone say that, it's just 20 years before. Like, someone in 2040 is going to be like, I miss the way the racing was in 2021. Like,
We're already there, man. People are saying they missed the COT, and Ryan France just admitted that it was the
Well,
worst decision they've ever made to put
To
that
be
thing in
fair,
there and not
his-
consult teams.
yeah, well, his thing with the mistake was he hated the way they handled it.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Not-
no,
not
I mean, I'm not
teams.
gonna lie. I grew up on the COT. The COT's fun. Like, I watched Gen 4 races, but COT is where I like got into the sport.
That's
I
fair.
watched before, but I got into it with the COT. Like, one race that always
I
sticks
watched-
out in my mind is Edwards versus Kyle Busch at Bristol. I think that was 08.
Hmm.
That race is like a core memory for me for no good reason. Like, that race shaped who
Ryan-
I am as a person.
Ryan, you probably grew up then watching the COTs a lot.
Probably the CO. Were you COT with the
So-
giant wing on the back or with the spoiler?
See, when I started watching, like, religiously, it was the last year for the spoiler COT.
Mm.
I always watched, like, a little here and there because my dad's always been big into it. I always watched, like, a little here and there. But, yeah, my first year I really followed NASCAR from start to finish was 2012, the end of the spoiler COT era.
Nice.
I don't know why the spoiler COT it's so like looking back at it now, especially with how good the next gen car looks. The COT with the spoiler was one of the ugliest fucking things ever,
Well, I will say
but it just
the
does something
CO,
for me.
I will say the COT with the spoiler, but also with the splitter brackets on the front.
Yes.
I don't know. That thing kind of looks sexy to me. I
Like
don't
Oh,
know why.
I
That's like
mean,
my favorite COT.
looking at it objectively, it's just a box with a couple stickers and a giant spoiler and a giant splitter. But like I said, I guess that's
Hmm.
when I got like heavy, and like I started dieharding NASCAR. So that car just does something for me. But like I look back at it now, like I just bought that '08 Gordon diecast the other day, and I'm like, damn, this car is like my childhood. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, this is fucking ugly.
I remember during a wall trip, the first race of Bristol 2007, where it debuted,
Is
and
that
he
when he
was
had?
like, "This is do what?"
Well, when did DW have no voice in Bristol? Was that '08?
I think
Or
that
was
was
that?
'08. That
Yeah.
was '08. Yep. But I remember him saying it looks like a truck, especially the Dodge Avenger that they had that year. They were like, "This is a truck."
Or Kyle Busch's comments after he won. I can't stand to drive these things. They suck.
I was hoping Junior was going to bring that up to Brian in their interview. Be like, "How'd you handle Kyle Busch?"
Yeah. Just bashing the shit out of your car
Yeah.
in its first race. The way they rolled that out
Tony,
was weird too. They ran half the races with that and half with the Gen 4.
it was such a bizarre thing, man. And it was Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart that were both like, "We hate this thing. The hell is this thing?"
I'll tell you what. If you can name me some change that Tony Stewart liked right off the bat, I'll give you $5.
I'm trying to think. What
Tony
other
Stewart.
change would come up
Tony
with Tony?
Stewart was not one who would have to change right off the bat.
Junior
That's
wasn't
true.
either until he was, and then he was all for it. I heard Junior was doing a press conference. He's like, I wasn't excited about change until a whole bunch of change started happening.
Yeah.
And he goes, now fuck it, let's change it all. But yeah. So Jimmie bought into Petty GMS. That's where we were going with that. He's gonna run a couple races. So that's gonna be a fun team to watch next year. Noah Gragson, Eric Jones, Jimmie Johnson. That's a lineup.
Yeah.
That is a
Mhm.
solid driver lineup for not a huge team.
If you are Eric Jones, you are applauding the move to move from Joe Gibbs Racing to
Yeah.
Petty GMS because now he looks like the smartest guy in the room
Oh yeah.
with having Jimmie Johnson as his freaking teammate
Yeah.
Yeah.
and owner. Get 2 for 2 right there.
Now you got two, and Richard Petty's your owner.
Yeah.
Oh, this came out today, and I didn't talk to you guys about it yet or post anything on the Instagram about it. Elio Castroneves has two teams
Oh,
that are trying to
yes.
get him to run the 500.
Yes.
A lot of championships.
He's got
Yes. Money team and
Trackhouse
Trackhouse.
and the money team.
Little Floyd Mayweather.
Still wild to believe the money team actually showed up, and New York Racing, NY Racing, and the money team both showed up this year.
Yep.
I guess it finally. You know what the wildest part about that is they didn't go to Texas. They're like, we're preparing for Texas for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Then they show up to Daytona. Also,
Hey, that scheme they brought to Daytona, money scheme. Woo.
what the Pit Viper
F50
one?
car. Oh,
Oh, as someone who owns an unhealthy amount of Pit Vipers,
Yeah.
I was kind of obsessed with that scheme. I got the hero
it was
card. I got
nice.
the diecast.
It was nice.
At first, I'm like, wow, this thing's fucking ugly. Not even like the scheme itself, just like the transition between colors. How it was just a solid line, like from the
So
blue to
let's
the orange.
let's speculate a little bit. What do you guys think? Is Elio going to first of all even be able to make it in? He's obviously going to have to probably race his way in.
Depends who he drives for. If he's with the money, granted, it could be fucking anyone. Like could
Well,
make
okay,
it
who drove the money car team last year?
Kaz Gralla.
Gralla. He made it in though.
All up.
Yeah, but Grala's solid, dude.
Sure.
I mean, Grala finished
I
7th in his first Cup race at the Daytona Road Course, which no one had ever driven before. So, and in
oh yeah,
RCR
no
car,
practice.
yeah, subbing for Austin Dillon, no practice, and he
that's right.
finished 7th. I mean,
Yeah.
Grala's decent. Granted, Elio Castroneves is not bad himself. I don't know how he is behind the
A
wheel of a cup car.
couple Indy 500 wins.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Granted, open wheel guys usually don't fare well in a stock car.
Curious to see how he'll do draft though.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Indy's the
this
500
super speedway.
is a lot of drafting.
Yeah,
Mainly
but you
just
don't
the
get the
500.
So
You don't get a
get
pack. You get a line.
pack.
You get a
hear
line
me
that
out on
bobs
this.
and weaves all over the straightaways.
I feel like Elio's got to go to a team that has some experience about drafting and stuff, like somebody he can go to. I feel like Trackhouse has got to be it, just because. Not that Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain have a ton of experience in drafting, but it's going to be better than being a single car team and not having any help.
Yeah, plus
Really,
Trackhouse is a much better team, obviously.
yeah.
Trackhouse Dandy won
I
a championship. Money team showed up to 5 races, 6 races. So
Yeah.
if he goes to Project 91, I think no doubt, unless he wrecks in his qualifying race.
I'm going to throw this out here. I'm just going to say it. It could be a terrible take. I don't know. It could make sense. Who knows? Would it make more sense for him to go to Petty GMS with Jimmie being over there, being an open wheel guy who kind of understands IndyCar now, and has somebody coming over to race the stock car?
I think it would, but I don't think they're even attempting to get him over there. I think it's just the
True.
50 and the 91. Granted, I can assure you he probably goes to Jimmie asking for advice.
100%.
But so that'll be fun. It's always fun seeing just who shows up to the 500. Like in some back marker, like Greg Biffle did last year, and what's his name, Jacques Villeneuve did.
It was good to see the Biff back though.
It was. Despite being in one of the, I don't think no, the 26 and the 27 were worse, but the 44 was bad. I'd like to see the Biff come back like in an Xfinity car or truck and do something good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're getting way off topic again. It's been bad. It's been we've been getting good discussions, but it's we're 30 miles from where we started.
At some point, we might have a script or something we could actually follow and have notes.
I did the first 2 episodes, and then I gave up on that. So,
Me and Ryan need to have notes. That's what we need to do. We need to make some notes so we can stay on track, and then swap each other's notes so we know who's doing what
yeah.
and what's going on.
The last 2 episodes, we've been all over the place. Yeah. So, how about Ryan Preece to the 41?
Good move.
Good move. Cole Custer to the 00.
Good move.
He's gonna win every damn race they run next year in that car.
Or
Yes, he is.
Could he maybe not be going to the 00? Because there's a rumor going around. There's a rumor going around that the same thing happened to Joey Logano in 2013, where he was supposed to go to the JGR Xfinity Series or Xfinity team, but instead he was picked up by Penske. So it is possible that Cole may not go to the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, but
and might
Joey
find
Logano
a company.
didn't have a dad who was a team president.
I was gonna say Logano.
He had a dad who was very loud and yelled at people, but
I don't know. It's hard though, because coming from somebody who's been demoted from a company before, and I didn't even stay, but to me, it doesn't make sense to be demoted and go work for the same team that demoted you. So I personally think probably here within the next couple of weeks, or at least by December, we're going to hear news about Cole Custer staying in the Cup Series and going to a different team. I just can't see how he would be okay with going back to the Xfinity Series.
I mean, the thing about Cole Custer is, I think if he goes anywhere, it's Rick Ware. It's going to be an SHR aligned car. His dad's the
Hmm.
president of SHR. I don't know if Cole Custer is good enough for Cup, but he's too good for the Xfinity Series. It's weird. It's
That's
really weird.
and that's what I'm saying is like
Never
I
seen
doubt.
anything like it before.
Well, and I don't think the problem is though is that
I mean, he was
he came into
bad.
the Cup
He was
Series,
bad in that 41. He led what,
but he
17 laps total?
he came, he but you got to remember he did come into the Cup Series where SHR was kind of starting to fall off
So did
a
Briscoe.
little
He
bit,
almost made the final four this year.
That's
but that's the
that's the
14
thing.
car too.
That's the thing about Cole Custer is he came in as a rookie in 2020 with the COVID, and he still found a way to win a race, and it was legitimate. You know, it might have been a one-off one deal, but he went out and took that race. And then 2021, Stuart Haas was just a mess.
Yep.
2022, he was improving by the end of the season.
Here's the thing
And
Yep.
put
about that, though, is like SHR wasn't good, but they weren't 28th place, lead 5 laps all year bad. You know what I mean?
If your name wasn't Harvick or Briscoe, because the only reason why Almirola still has a ride is because he's got sponsorship. That's really what it comes down to. Because I
Yeah.
honestly would pick Cole Coaster over Almirola. No offense, but Eric is just his stats are pretty much the same. He wasn't that great either the past couple of years, except for his win at New Hampshire.
2018 he was
And if
solid.
and if they don't cut the race in half at the end, go from 20
Yeah,
laps to
Bell
10,
wins.
Bell wins 100%. So, yeah, be it
Mm,
as it may, I still think
Almirola
we're
still
gonna
finished
hear.
like 9 spots ahead of Custer in the standings. Oh no, only 5. Granted, he finished 5 spots, almost 200 points ahead of Cole Custer.
Mhm.
well, you got to factor in those 50 points.
Okay, so 150 points ahead. I mean, Cole Custer did not record
150. There you
a top 5 all year. I don't. Did he record it? All right, let me pull up
go. Not
Cole
since
Custer.
Kentucky 2020.
Let me pull. Yeah, that's bad. Let me pull up some Cole Custer stats here real quick. I mean, on his career, in no, 3 full-time seasons, he's got 12 top 10s, 7 of which came his rookie year, 2 top 5s, both of which came his rookie year, the 1 win, which came his rookie year. He's led 29 laps with a career high of 15 this year. Finished 16th, 26th, 25th in points.
Hmm.
With a career average finish of
Yeah.
20.1. I mean, last year he had 17 lead lap finishes. This year he had 21. His rookie year was his best year with 22 lead lap finishes. I mean,
It's
that's not
it's pretty bad, but
good.
how many times was he either in a wreck or I feel like his car was either blowing up or he was having a parts failure or something would go wrong at the
And
end
I
where the
can agree,
picker would screw up.
Like,
right off the top
I
of my
get
head,
that.
I can say Bristol, Martinsville, the Coke 600, Charlotte Roval, even Talladega 2, Watkins Glen, Indy Road Course, and Texas. I could say were races that Cole Custer probably should have had either a top 10 or in some of those cases
Yep.
top 5.
Yeah,
He was very good at the Indian road course.
now I get that.
He was.
I get that. However, 3 top 10s.
It is. It's
In your
it is. It's
teammate, you had 2 teammates make the playoffs, one of which was 7 laps from making the final 4. And you had
yeah.
3 top 10s. Like, at some point, you got to be like, okay. Like, his rookie year was his career best year to date.
No. I'm not disagreeing that
And even in
he
average
should have been.
finish, his
I'm
rookie
not
year was
disagreeing that he
nice.
shouldn't be replaced because I do think Ryan Preece is a better driver overall, just because that guy has gotten in anything and can win,
Oh no, Ryan
or is
Preece
at
is great.
least bring it
Preece is
home.
great.
But where I disagree
Better
is
than him.
I don't see how Cole Custer is going to be okay with going to race for the team who demoted him back to a series. I don't see how he's
He
going to be
may
okay with
see it
that.
as a
The
chance to sort of
only,
like find himself again. Like, all right, I
the
know I
only
can win here. Let
and
me.
the only reason I could say is he'll stick it out is because Harvick and Almirola's days are numbered. He's one of those guys. I
Yeah.
think that's probably what Cole Custer's got in the back of his mind is I'm gonna go down
I mean,
and
Harvick's
I'm gonna
probably got
go win
Harvick's
some
probably got a
races.
year left. He's probably done after next year.
It's
Yeah,
all but confirmed he's gonna retire at the end of next year. Almirola, I'm a diehard Eric Almirola fan. I don't know why he decided to come back.
I don't either. That
Especially
still
now, it feels like he's got one
puzzled
foot
me.
in, one foot out. Like if you're contemplating
That's
retirement
it's
enough to say I'm retiring and wait till like 5 weeks left or however it was after the playoffs started, he announced it, I think. Like it was late in the year when he said, "Yeah, I'm coming back." Like,
he announced it. He confirmed it at Kansas. It was rumored at Watkins Glen. Then he confirmed it at Kansas.
yeah, I mean, it was late in the year that he confirmed he was coming back. It
I
just
have a
feels like it's like he's not all there. Fucking hates his family, I guess. He's like
Yeah.
Tom Brady of
Tom Brady without the 7 championships, unfortunately.
Tom Brady with like
They had
3 wins.
2018, man. They're so close. So close to making the Final Four in 2018. That's all I can say for Eric.
so hear me out on this. Wouldn't it make more sense to replace Landon Castle with Cole Custer and give Cole Custer an opportunity to race some cup starts with Colleague? Because Colleague, they re-energized AJ Allmendinger's career. They should do the same with Cole Custer because
Yes.
if I'm being demoted, I'm going to a different team, and I think he's a much obviously he's going to win, right? He's better than
Yeah.
Landon Castle and Daniel Hemrick combined. So I think that's honestly
The
where he should
only
go.
reason I think he stays is his dad is the president, and he has no funding. He has absolutely no funding.
Well, do you guys think that maybe they're putting him in the Xfinity for a year and then he takes over for either Hardwick or Almirola and goes back up?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm
That's my
thinking
thought.
maybe they're sending him down to be like, all right. It's like when an everyday, like not an everyday player in baseball, but like a baseball player you know is good enough to play in the big leagues gets sent down to AAA to try and figure it out. That's kind of where I
Or
think
just in
this
the
is.
or in the NFL you just get benched.
Yeah, fucking Zach Wilson. But I think it's kind of like that. Like they're gonna be like, go down there and see if like there's something different that maybe you're doing behind the wheel of that car. Like try and figure it out.
Honest, honestly, I think Castle and Hemrick both have a lot better years this year than they did last year.
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know what it was
colleague.
with
No,
Colleague,
colleague just
but I
sucked last year. They stretched himself too thin. They had 5 guys running cup or whatever it was, or 4 guys
Mm-hmm.
running cup cars
yeah,
between 2 cup cars.
guys from out of house.
Yeah, you had 4 guys running cup cars plus 3 full-time Xfinity teams. They stretched themselves. They're not big enough to be at that size yet.
Yeah, and I definitely think that Castle and Hemrick are very good race car drivers. That I honestly see both of them winning at least one race next year. And if they don't, well, then maybe we got to reevaluate
I think
who
Hemrick.
Colleague's got.
I think Castle's best ability behind the wheel is making people think he could win a championship in a good car.
Well, I can tell you this much: the Xfinity Series is going to be nothing but JGR and Colleague winning
Yeah,
freaking races. Man,
JGR
I
has like
can't.
no presence there now.
I don't think they have anybody yet at all. They haven't even announced their plans
They
yet.
haven't announced anyone yet.
Yeah, so it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be that competitive at all.
gonna be
I think it's going to be one
JGR
team is just
winning
going to
a
just
whole
dominate.
lot of races.
Yep.
I was just the only one that JGR's kind of confirmed is they've kind of danced around the idea of John Hernimachek, and Bain said he wants to get funding. He's trying to get funding
I
for a
would
full season.
love if they put Trevor Bayne in a car full time.
I would too.
Yeah.
Oh, also, Freddie Kraft kept that Cole Custer. I made a comment when Gene Haas said that he wants Cole Custer, but Tony wants Ryan Preece. And everyone was like, dude, this is Ryan Preece's shot. And I was like, y'all are going to be so disappointed when Daytona rolls around and Cole Custer's in the 41 car. And then, like, 3 months later, the news got announced, and Freddie Kraft was replied to me with a smiley face. I'm like, bro, have you been thinking about this? Or did you just go back to this post? And
He's
be like,
been.
what? You cut out there.
I said he's been thinking about it, man. He's been waiting for
Yeah.
this moment with you.
Freddie, come on the show and explain yourself.
Agreed.
Come on,
Um,
Freddie. We'll welcome you.
and while we're on the topic of Joe Gibbs, this is obviously just flowing perfectly. Ty Gibbs is going to Cup next year. The worst kept secret in the garage is out. However,
54.
he'll be in the 54. No 18 car for a year. They said the 18 will be back. It's just taking a little break.
So I hear, as everybody knows, that, well, most, I'm sure you guys know this, FedEx and Denny Hamlin are only signed to the end of next year.
Yes.
So the idea is that Hamlin goes to his own team and takes FedEx with him, and JGR becomes only a 3-car stable with the 18, 54, and 20 because Martin Truex will not return either.
I don't know if I see them without the 11 though. That's been like,
Well, I think
because that
23,
number
11,
holds like
I think,
that. Yeah.
well, yeah, he's obviously he's gonna take that with him.
I would, yeah, like I feel like Denny would take the 11, but at the same time, that was what JD's number.
No, JD was 18 and 20.
Well, like his like football number.
Oh, football number.
Yes, it was 11, I think.
Yeah, it was 11.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know that number means a lot to Joe, especially that both of his sons are gone.
But I know that also because Denny was really, really good friends with JD, and JD is the one that got also
That's
Hamlin that
true,
ride. I'm sure Joe would probably let Hamlin have it
Yeah.
for sure.
I think, yeah, I don't know. I think it would do JGR wonders downsizing to 3 cars because they've kind of been. I feel like JGR is one of the most poorly managed teams in the garage.
I'll tell you what, I think Joe made a really great decision in not replacing Kyle Busch per se by having the 18 out there with a different name on it.
Yeah.
I think letting Ty make his own history, since the 54 does not have history in the Cup Series of being successful at all.
And Ty's been running well in it in Xfinity.
Yep.
Let him keep it.
I think it's a very, very good decision. Kind of also gets you out of your psyche a little bit because, sometimes you're in your own head. You're like, oh, gosh, I'm driving this car. I think that happened to Chase Elliott in that
the
24.
Oh,
honestly.
100%. The second he went in the 9, he won 3 races.
Yep.
The second he was in the 9
since.
car, he won 3 races. I don't even know what you'd call his worst year because 2021 he only won 2 races, but he finished second 9 times.
I'd say 2017 was his worst just because.
Well, I'm saying in the 9 car.
In the 9 car?
He hasn't really had a bad year in the 9. Probably maybe 2019.
2019. He only had 2 wins.
No, he had 3.
Oh, he did have 3. You're right. I forgot
3
about
wins,
one.
but he had a lot in that.
2021 was the only year he won less than 3 races, but he finished second 9 times.
2019 sucked because of
So,
it was back-to-back races of him wrecking his car and missing the championship.
Yep. But yeah, so yeah, he definitely was like, oh shit. Even he said the 24 never felt like home, but
Mm-hmm.
he was like, this is Jeff Gordon's car. I gotta try and live up to Bill Elliott and Jeff Gordon's expectations now. I gotta live up to both of those now.
It was unsettling. Like seeing him in the 24 is like this just doesn't feel right. Then they bring the night out. You're like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's right there. So I'm sure Ty probably and Joe both feel the same way. It's like let's put you in a car and give you a number to make your own history and not feel like you have to live up to anybody's expectations.
Yeah.
Because now it's just are you going to be able to succeed in the Cup Series? Not
Which he's
are you going
going
to be
to.
able to be Kyle Busch's successor?
Yeah. And
So
which Ty's going to do fine.
mm.
Ty's extremely talented. He'll be
Well,
fine.
Ryan always says that he's a little racing robot.
Yeah, pretty much. Except after Martinsville.
He is, man.
There was like a few hours after
Yeah.
Martinsville.
He short circuited for a second.
Yeah. A few hours after Martinsville, you were like, I don't know if he's that talented. And then you're like, no, he is.
Well, I'll say this though, it is going to be interesting because obviously we send our condolences still to the Gibbs family with
Yeah.
the passing of his
Boy.
father.
That was
As
awful.
somebody who is going through right now, about to
Yeah.
lose his father as well, I sympathize
Oh,
with Ty,
yeah.
and
As
I
someone
do kind
who
of wonder.
has already lost their father, it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, you just kind of wonder is he going to be able to be successful and kind of like tone it down a little bit and be more professional, or because he does have obviously his grandpa with Joe Gibbs, but still is not the same, and you kind of wonder if
I think next year
without
might
that,
be a little rough for him.
yeah, that's what I'm feeling too.
That being said, even if it is, he'll figure it out. He's going to be
Yep.
driving for one of the best teams. He is, I think, one of the best prospects the sport has seen in a long time.
Since Chase Elliott, at least.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking rookies to make an impact, I mean, yeah, Cindric won and made the round of 8, but he didn't do a whole lot. Chase Elliott, and then before that, you gotta go back to like the Gen 4 days to find like rookies to come in and make an impact right off the bat. I think Ty could be
Well,
one of those guys.
I feel like Kyle Larson, if he was driving for Ganassi, so
Kyle
cut him some
Larson
slack, but
was
he had a good 2014 rookie season.
he had a good rookie season, but he was so inconsistent.
Oh, dude, the car was just
Yeah.
it was.
Well, Kyle Larson would run second, and he was thinking, "Holy shit, I got a chance at winning this race," and he'd put that thing in the wall trying.
Oh, I was about to say
And,
Kyle Larson
he
threw
was
a lot of races away when he was in the 42 car. That's one thing I don't know.
He was gonna win that race by trying.
One thing that's always bothered me is people talk about Ganassi like it was on the same level of Rick Ware.
No,
When in
no,
reality,
it was not.
they were probably the second best Chevy team. They were better than RCR in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone who drove for them at the end, they except Chastain, he had one season there before they got sold. They all won races. Jamie McMurray won races there. Montoya won races. Larson won races. Kurt Busch won races. So, I think Larson, I've said this before, I think he came back from his suspension a different driver.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it was a mix of, yes, the equipment is better, but Larson was so much better behind the wheel, I think.
Larson
He came back a
himself
different
was better.
driver, yeah. Before his suspension, he threw away. One that always sticks out to me is Atlanta, when he lost to Brad Keselowski. He was running the bottom, and they were like, all right, you're pulling away, and then he just went to the top, and they're like, no, you lost time up there, and then he just kept running the top. And they're like, you're losing time running the top. And he just kept running the top, and then Brad passed him, and then he went back to the bottom. And then hung on Brad's ass after that. So, but, yeah, where the fuck were we?
Talking about Ty.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing, too, is those that are Ty Gibbs fans, is Lionel going to be able to get that licensing from Monster to actually produce Ty Gibbs' car?
Hell no. Ty Gibbs is going to have
man.
3
Better hope
diecasts
so.
offered.
They go with him.
Shriners Children's Hospital or some shit like that. Or like Cub Cadet.
Or Stanley and DeWalt. sports clips.
Yeah, maybe he gets some of those JGR. That's the one thing I've noticed is like why do JGR drivers never have sponsors?
Because they're
It I
drive
mean
Toyota.
Fed FedEx was there before Hamlin. Kyle Busch
Yeah.
and Mars came in at the same time, but then they never changed. I mean, Truex brought Bass Pro, but Bell has not brought any of his own sponsors. Ty has Monster a little bit. Who else was there?
The Ty had Monster in ARCA
Yeah,
and
Monster was
K&N.
Yeah, but in Xfinity, I know the one year he was running a couple unsponsored cars.
Yeah, I forget what the Charlotte Win car was. That was some
It was just black.
sponsor.
It was black, completely
I thought there
unsponsored.
was a sponsor on that.
Yeah,
No,
it
that
was
was completely
like
unsponsored. And then this year he had a couple more But like when Matt Kenseth went over to fucking the 20 car, I don't think he brought anything with him. He was all JGR sponsors at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same with Jones and Bell.
Carl
I mean,
Edwards went
Bell
over.
brought Ream.
No, well, Ream was there because of Brandon Jones.
Oh, is Ream going to be gone now that Brandon Jones is no longer
No,
there?
they said they're gonna stick with Bell.
Yeah.
They're gonna stick with Bell, but Brandon Jones brought Ream, and then they just hopped on Bell. Who else didn't bring sponsors? Edwards didn't bring sponsors. He piggybacked off Daniel Suarez's sponsors.
Well, that's backwards.
Is it? I thought Eris was.
Yeah.
No, Eris came with
No.
Suarez. In
No,
the
no.
Xfinity series.
Well,
And then
no.
when
Carl was there in 2015, and then Daniel took over uh Eris for Carl
no,
and
but
all that
Eris
stuff.
was sponsoring Daniel in Xfinity before that. I think when Carl was still in the 99.
And they were with him in the.
They were with him in Mexico, I think.
They may
Yeah.
have been.
Yeah, I think Eris was there with
I know they
Daniel.
sponsored him in
Eris,
2016.
Eris and Tulsa.
Yeah, and then they still, I think technically, because I think CommScope is technically still Eris in some way, or something like that. I don't know. And
Yeah.
they were on
It
the
is
96. They were on
their
the, yeah, and Eris itself was on the 96 of Suarez. So
Mm-hmm.
they're a Suarez sponsor that jumped on Edwards.
That's weird because Carl came in 2015 and Daniel didn't come in until 2016.
Unless maybe they
That's
just.
Oh,
odd.
Daniel was there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Daniel's rookie year was 2015. He just didn't win until 2016.
Oh, okay. So it was probably a package deal. They probably would just
Yeah.
sponsor both of them.
It's so weird. His
Actually,
rookie
he
year was
technically
actually
came
the
in
18 cut.
he came in 2014. He ran his first race with them.
Tony Stewart is the
Yeah.
only. He might be the only JGR driver other than Daniel Suarez that came in with a sponsor because he brought Home Depot from IndyCar
Truex bought
to.
Bass Pro. Bass Pro's been with Truex
Oh yeah, true.
all over the place. They were with him with DEI. They were with him at Front Row. They weren't with him at Michael Waltrip Racing though. He had Napa.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, JGR sponsors, they all get sponsored by TRD sponsors.
Mhm.
Back on to a topic though. Ty's gonna be in the 54. Another news story. Damn, we need to start making notes.
Mhm.
We are all over the place. NASCAR is strongly considering removing stage cautions at road courses starting next year. I hope so.
Let's do that and do it for every other track as well.
Exactly. I think doing it at road courses is a good start. Do it everywhere.
So something that I did not know until who was it that brought this up? I think it was oh man, I can't remember who said this. But anyway, they were saying it may have been Larry McReynolds. The thing that Stages has done
This
has
was Larry
basically
Mack.
made it Was it Larry Mack? Yeah.
It
What basically
was.
what it's done is it's allowed teams to know where they can do with the fuel mileage at all times, basically. Like you don't have a lot of fuel mileage wins because they know when the cautions are coming, so they know when to pit. It takes out this whole strategy of just how the race plays out.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't give some teams um, a chance really to be able to do a different strategy. Like you hear NBC say it all the time. Oh, they're on different strategies. It's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter
At that point, it's
unless you're on a
mainly
road course. It
tire.
doesn't matter.
It's mainly tire. At
Yep.
that point, one guy's got
Yep.
fresher tires, but
Well,
since
I would
stages
love to see
what
him go.
since stages came when you get 1 to 2 fuel mileage races a year, maybe
Most of them are road courses.
you get 1 to 2 that are no okay hold on let me rephrase that. You get a couple that are setting up, and then some fucking guy running 35th, 17 laps down brings out the caution with 3 laps to go every week without fail. I'm convinced NASCAR's
The
paying these back markers to wreck in the last 5 laps.
I don't understand why like you can have stage winners without stage cautions. Like I don't understand what the cautions are
State,
for.
I will explain to you. NASCAR implemented stages strictly so that they had planned TV ad breaks, and
Oh, for
they were like,
God's
we
sake.
don't want them, we don't want to just throw the caution at this lap every week and not have a reason to. So let's add the stages so that people don't fucking hate us over it.
That's got to
It's
be the
for
worst
planned
decision ever
commercial
because
breaks. You get the commercial break when the stage comes out. Then you get them coming down pit road. Or no, you get the commercial break when the stage comes out. Then you get them running 2, 3 pace laps. Come back. Then as they go down pit road. Once they're done pitting, you get another commercial. So there's like 2, 3 commercial breaks right there, in between stages.
and you have to remember
I just
that
kind of butchered that, but you know what I
before
mean.
before the commercial breaks for the stages, there's about two or three or four commercial breaks before any of that.
Yeah, I mean every caution you get like 2, 3 commercial breaks out of a caution.
Yeah.
So that's why. Granted, I think I don't mind stages. I actually like them, but I don't like the cautions. I wish that
See,
they
and
would just
I
award points and keep going. But I know why it's
and
there.
the stages are fine. It's the cautions. Just with
Exactly.
cautions, keep the stages. Everything else is fine. Just don't throw a caution.
It's just at road
It.
courses, it's so rough with the cautions. Like I know it's not on the schedule anymore, but Road America, a caution lap was like 9 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
Oh
and
my
Yeah, those
you'd
don't
god,
need to
have
be
to
yeah.
run like
mandatory.
4 or 5 caution laps. It was like 30 minutes for a caution. So yeah, I think at least it shows that NASCAR is listening, in my opinion. I think they've done a good job with that. Like bullying kind of works when it comes to NASCAR. You can bully them. I mean, we bullied them into higher horsepower during the off season too, because they were gonna run like 500 horsepower with the next gen with that giant ass spoiler, and everyone's like, nah, like we saw the test. We saw everything you tested. Go with the little spoiler and the higher horsepower, and they're like, all right, fine. Like, you can bully NASCAR and do a lot of things. Getting rid of the playoffs ain't one of them. But smaller things like that, bullying works for NASCAR. You can bully them. You just gotta have the whole fan base just rise up and then get mad over something very small that, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean much for NASCAR. So that's all I have for NASCAR. But there is one thing, or 2 things I want to talk about that aren't NASCAR related. One, Snowball Derby's coming up. A lot of Cup guys are running the Snowball Derby this year. Like a lot. A lot of guys you normally don't see run the Snowball Derby. Gregson
Mm-hmm.
normally runs it. Um, Actually, I don't know the last time Byron did, but you got Brad Keselowski's running it. I thought I heard Eric Jones might be running it. So that's exciting for the Snowball Derby. That's always a fun race. You know, William Byron's Eric Jones is in it. driving the 4 car. Derek Kraus is
Awesome.
going to be in it. Carson Hocevar is going to be in it.
What?
Chandler Smith is going to be running it. Corey Himes is going to be running it. Jesse Love is going to be running it. Sammy Smith is going to be running it. Josh Berry is going to be running it. What else we got? He's a future NASCAR guy. Looking at the latest entry list. Ty Majeski's running it, to the shock of no one. So a lot of NASCAR guys are going back and running Snowball Derby. That's going to be a lot of fun to see. You're up to 59 entries, I believe, now. That's a good field.
Mm-hmm.
If we're taking bets, what are the odds Brad fails tech? Because that 6-car failed tech, like, what, a lot this year. That's all I know. Bad enough to be penalized, like, twice.
Yeah.
And then another thing I want to talk about, Chili Bowl and
Mm-hmm.
their wonderful purse. 10 grand to win the Chili Bowl. And I think that was so much worse because of the I think people have just kind of been brushing that under the rug because a lot of dirt races don't have higher payouts. But then you had at Houston, it's the High Bank Nationals paid out like what, 175,000,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Eldora Million late model race that paid out $1 million. So dirt races are getting much bigger purses the last year or so. Or granted, that's not the first Eldora Million, but there was like a 30-year break between them.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
dirt races get big purses, and the Chili Bowl is sitting at 10,000 to win. There's probably local short tracks that pay better for certain events.
Yeah, it's a shame because the Chili Bowl, I remember like even maybe like 5 years ago, it was really starting to gain momentum and people were really starting to get interested in it. And
The Chili Bowl blew up, and I think that's one of the reasons why people are protesting it now.
yeah,
Because it blew up, and the person in shape.
Mhm.
I mean, guys got to pay to get in. There's like 500-600 guys attempting to run. You get the streaming money, you get concessions, you get tickets, you get all this, and you're paying 10 grand to the winner. It's kind of pathetic.
Agreed.
That's
It is the
why
way they'll maybe.
I think Kyle Larson running a late model race that day, or that whole week, going and running his late model. I think that'll kind of, hopefully, open the eyes for the people over there running the Chili Bowl.
No kidding.
Larson's like, yeah, I'm gonna go run some late model races out in like fucking California or something, or Arizona. But that event is kind of, I mean, I'm still gonna watch, but obviously, but it's kind of become the purse for that is kind of pathetic, especially when you compare it to what some other, like I said, dirt races have been paying out over the past year. So I know Larson's protesting it, and I think because Larson's not running it, that'll probably mean Chase isn't running it. You're still going to have most of the guys that are normally there running it. Like, I know Bowman's bringing his cars to it. All the dirt guys are still running it because it's still the fucking Chili Bowl. But you have a guy like Larson who has the name recognition and the sway in the sport, who can afford to be like, yeah, I'm not going to go this year. And just that one, maybe just a kick in the ass they needed. But I'm still looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to not having to switch streaming services this year.
Right. Oh,
I'm looking
gosh.
forward to having the whole event on Flow, and I'm gonna switch over to Mav TV for the CB and A mains. That's always annoying.
God.
I always forget about it too.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Yep.
the D main will end,
It's insane.
and then I'll just sit there and I'm like, when the fuck is the C main coming on? And I'm like, oh, it's on Mav TV, and I look and there's like 3 laps left. Actually, when does that start? It's like right before New Year's, right? I don't know the
Oh,
exact dates. When is it? I gotta find the dates for that now. That's coming
It's
up, man. As much as I'm trashing the Chili Bowl right now, I'm very excited for it.
No, it'll be good. It's always good. It's just you got to pay more. You got to pay the drivers more. Honestly,
Oh, it's starting January 8th this year. That's definitely late. It definitely started in December, at like a year or two ago. Or am I going crazy? No, it definitely did. Oh, unless I'm thinking of the, what is that event they run called the Mike beforehand? What is that? Whatever it was.
I'm not
Oh, the
sure.
Tulsa Shootout. The Tulsa Shootout. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, I'm excited. So, you guys, anything else you guys want to talk about?
no, I don't have
I'm
have a whole
actually.
lot of time left.
I gotta get. Yeah.
Oh, also just want to, one more thing. Shout out someone who posted one of our stories to their story, Jade Avedision, making a name for herself out there in
yes.
the USAC races. We're big Jade Avedision supporters on this podcast. She's posted like 3 quick times in the last like 6
Absolutely.
days.
That's awesome.
So
We
there
appreciate that a lot, Jade.
How you doing? You know, you're not gonna listen to this, but how you doing? All right.
Hey, she's made a fan out of all three of us for life, so.
Yep. Thank you for reposting our story. All right, I think that'll probably do
Absolutely.
it.
First celebrity.
Yeah, now we gotta get. All right. Any drivers want to come on? Shoot me a DM. I may not be able to
Yes.
get back to you. Our DMs are a little crazy right now. I got one
I will
person.
say we need to get our
What was that?
shit in order before we have a driver come on because these guys
I
are going
know.
to come on and be like, "What is going on? What is happening?"
Because we're all over the place. This episode will get posted in 3 weeks when I remember.
I don't know. We might be able to get Chase Elliott's character to come out if he comes on here. We're like, what the fuck are we
That's
talking
like,
about?
did you ever listen to him on Glass Case of Emotion, where they were talking about something, and then they're like, it was like I was listening to it when I was working at UPS, and they were like talking about like Watkins Glen, and then I dozed off for a second. And I come back, and Chase Elliott's like, yeah, the moon landing didn't happen. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I believe every conspiracy theory I've ever read. And then he goes, climate change. Is that a conspiracy theory? And Blaney's like, no, I think that's just true. And he's like, yeah, summer's getting kind of hot. He's like, summer is pretty hot. Winter be getting kind of hot. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking? He was talking about how girls don't poop. That's a conspiracy theory. I don't know. He was all over the place. So maybe he'd fit in perfectly with us.
Hey, maybe.
Maybe.
I was gonna say.
Chase Elliott, come on. We can be all over the place, and we won't ask you any dumb questions like NASCAR media does.
Yeah, Chase.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for listening to episode 6.
You guys for listening.
Yes.
6, I think. Yeah.
Everybody have a happy off season, or have a merry off season and a happy Christmas.
I gotta go bust out my my sweater I bought it out last year. It's almost time.
Sorry, fans don't want to hear that one.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
Ryan.
speaking of, I can't wait till I get my.
It is what it is.
I can't wait till I get the Harvick Roval Race version. I'll display it
Yes,
right next to
sir.
the Elliott Roval Race version.
You want me to
Tough
you
moment
want me
to
to make you a Max? Want me to make you a customized heartburn turn wall?
Yeah, complete with an indent with the fucking 4 cards face on it. All right, Ryan, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I know you
Put my
Harvick
shattered
fans. You
dreams over
Harvick fans have had it rough the past few years.
We kid because we care.
Exactly.
Poetic
Exactly.
man. It was poetic justice. Even us Harvick fans were watching that, going, "Yeah, well, we kind of earned that one."
All right.
All right,
Well,
y'all.
thanks for watching.
Take care.
Y'all have a good day.
Good one, guys.